Welcome to Choosing Acceptance podcast with your host, Marie Mason. I am here to share some success stories and tips on how to overcome your learning disability so that you can turn your talents into a career. And I love to inspire children and parents and teachers with learning disabilities to go beyond their limits so that they can make a bigger impact in the world. Schedule a call to become a guest on our show at calendly.com/Marie V. Mason. Welcome back to the Choosing Acceptance podcast with your host, Marie Mason. We have a great show line for you, and you don't want to miss it. Join us on each episode of this podcast to get great resources that will help you understand and embrace your learning difficulties and turn your talents into a career. We serve college students, teachers, business owners, and adults by providing them with fresh content to educate, entertain, and engage our audience. Today, I am joined by my talented co-host, Ebuka Jestoc, who handles all of our video editing, voiceovers, and production for our show, all the way from Nigeria. Welcome, Ebuka, to our show. I am so glad to have you here. Today's topic is on the useful strategies for making decisions, 3 of them to be exact. Before we bring up our speaker in that topic, I'm going to share the top tips of the week, and then we're going to go to a commercial break. Let's get started. Last week's topics were on the top tips were understanding the processing deficits, and the main topic was how to work through processing deficits. Today's topic is 3 useful strategies for making decisions. And today's topic for the top tips for the week, the lumbo, please. How do you recognize processing deficits? So, welcome everyone back to the Choosing Acceptance podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about understanding processing deficits and how they impact learning and success. So they can impact it differently, right? So we will cover how to recognize them both in the classroom and at work. So let's get started. What's your first question, Ebuka?
Hi, Mary. I wanted to discuss with you about processing deficits. As professionals, we need to be aware of how to recognize them in our clients.
Yes, that's an important topic to discuss. Processing deficits can affect various areas of a person's life, including learning, communication, and even social skills.
Absolutely. So what are some of the signs we need to look out for?
So, great question about the signs of what to look out for. Clients with processing deficits may struggle with learning to understand and follow instructions and have difficulty with organization, and they may have a slower reaction times. They also may have trouble with problem solving and decision-making skills.
That makes sense. What about their communication skills?
Communication's a good question too about those skills. Clients with processing deficits may struggle with expressing themselves, understanding social cues, like how people will sit there and do that I'm thinking, or they are sad, they're happy, they're sometimes those might confuse somebody with that. They also might have difficulty with conversational turn taking, which is, remember when we were in school, is you have to take turns doing something. Well, guess what? Some of those skills are a little challenging for people with this particular this difficulty.
How can we help them improve their processing deficits?
Great question of how to improve the processing deficits. It starts with a comprehensive assessment with their strengths and their weaknesses.
I see. Then we need to identify their specific areas of difficulty and create a plan that addresses those challenges.
Exactly, Ebuka. Once we have a clear understanding about their processing deficits, then we can tailor to our approach to their learning styles and needs. Just remember how we talked about the 4 different learning styles in one of our earlier podcast episodes. If anyone needs understanding on what that is, the learning styles are.
That makes sense. But how do we ensure that the interventions we implement are effective?
Okay, great question about ensuring the interventions that we implement are effective. We need to regularly monitor their progress and adjust their strengths as needed. And it's also important that the individual in their own learning process, they own that process, right? We need to give them the tools to self-regulate. By giving them the tools to self-regulate, we can empower them. And that's the key.
I see. So it's not just about providing support, but also empowering them to take ownership of their own learning.
Yeah, you're definitely following what we're talking about. So with the right tools in the approach, the individuals with processing deficits can achieve success and independence on their academic and personal lives. And at the end of the show, we will share valuable resources and tools that can help you to improve your success both at work and at school. But before we bring up today's speaker, Ebuka, can you please take us to our commercial break?
And now, here is a word from one of our sponsors. We will be right back after this commercial break.
I'm Marie Mason. I am a business strategy coach. I run a mastermind group for online business owners where our members get to network, collaborate, and learn from one another in an exclusive environment. Our Business Academy takes a modern approach to business solutions by incorporating the latest technology and strategies to ensure that you hire a qualified team to handle your workflows.
Welcome back to the Choosing Acceptance podcast with your co-host Ebuka Jestoc. I handle our video editing and voiceovers for our show, and I'm joining all the way from Nigeria. We are excited to have you here with us again. The amazing Marie Mason has a varied and interesting career, from being a preschool teacher, an administrative assistant, a podcast consultant, to an author, a business strategy coach, international speaker, and our host for this podcast. Marie is passionate about inspiring people with learning disabilities to go beyond their limits and make a bigger impact in the world by turning their talents into a career. She has a wealth of knowledge and experience to share with us today. Today's topic is about 3 useful strategies for making decisions.
Thank you for the introduction, Ebuka. And yes, I actually have 3 strategies that will be very helpful to our audience.
That's great. Please share them with me.
Sure. The first strategy is to gather as much information as possible about the decision you need to make. This really helps you to understand the situation better and consider all the factors that are relevant.
That makes sense. How do you go about gathering information?
Oh, good question about gathering, how you go about gathering it, because not everyone asked that question. So really quickly, I do a lot of research online. I also consult with experts or colleagues or people that are the experts in that field that ask tons of questions to people that are involved in those situations because they're usually experts in that industry. And it's really important to get as much time as you need to get all those bits of information before you make any decision.
I see. What is your second strategy about making a decision?
The effective decision making is critical for success in business and life. This second strategy is to weigh the pros and cons of all the options available. The pros and cons analysis is a powerful tool in decision making. It can be provided for people at the end of the show.
And finally, What is the action step that you would recommend today?
Great question. I love this question. So the action step is important to be able to, like I said, consult with others. Getting input from other people that are experts in their industry can really help you to see a situation that's different from a different perspective and help you to identify any particular problems or issues you might not have thought of or maybe you just overlooked.
I wanted to discuss something with you today. I'm curious about what resources and tools are available for those with emotional processing deficits.
I wanted to discuss with you some days about some tools that might be available for processing deficits. One of them, I believe we mentioned earlier, which is a pros and cons analysis tool, a decision-making tool. I'll make sure that's available as well and give all the links in our social media and YouTube channels. The other one that's available for resources with individuals with processing deficits, basically to help them to improve their emotional regulation or just processing skills. Such resources is called cognitive behavior therapy, which a certified therapist would have to sit there and conduct that with an individual. And they can help them to identify their negative thoughts and beliefs and challenges to help them improve their emotional responses and also their social cues.
That's interesting. Are there any other tools or resources that you could recommend?
Great question. Yes, there are other tools too that can be helpful, and that is mindful meditation. Mindful meditation can really help individuals focus on present moment and help them to reduce stress, anxiety, and negative emotions. There are also several apps and online resources available for mindfulness meditation. And a lot of coaches, like life coaches or meditation coaches, will also offer usually like a free sample of some of those meditations. So just do your Google research about mindful coaches or life coaches, and they usually bring a lot of that kind of tools to the table as well.
Yes, that's true. That brings me to my last question. What are you offering our audience today?
Oh, great question. I love it when you ask me about my offer. So thanks, Ebuka. You're fantastic to work with, by the way. My gift today is actually about sharing about our amazing community that offers additional support and resources in the workplace and at school. So if you're searching to find supportive community mixed with teachers, professionals, parents with learning disabled or learning difficulties, they might have children of all different ages in that group themselves. So we basically are a mix of different backgrounds for the learning difficulties and learning disabilities, as well as learning handicaps and so forth. So if you would like to become a part of this group, it's a free membership. Just go ahead and go to Bubble Bears Books membership and Facebook and join us and ask to join. We'll be happy to have you there. The other one is, oh my gosh, have you ever wondered what it'd be like to see the world through a dyslexic child's eyes or anyone with a learning difficulty? Stick around to the end of the show and hear from one of our sponsors called Bubble Bears Books. And the book is Bubble Bear's Special Problem. It's all about seeing it through a dyslexic child's eyes. And it's the first of several. So go grab a copy of my book and click on the Amazon link wherever you see it on the YouTube channel or on our social media channels and grab yourself a copy today. So please close out the show, Ebuka. It's been great to see you today and also to talk to our audience. I hope everyone got some value out of today. I look forward to our next show. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.
I want to thank our speaker, Marie Mason, for sharing valuable information on this topic on the Choosing Acceptance podcast. Please join us next week for great tips on how to overcome your learning disabilities and turn your talents into a career. We stream weekly on our YouTube channel and Facebook group where you can collect all of our offers. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching. And now here is a word from one of our sponsors. Have a great week, everyone. That ends this week's show.
My name is Marie Mason. I am the author of Bubble Bear Special Problem. And this book destigmatizes learning disabilities in order to provide a better understanding of their learning process. It helps children to overcome their fear of learning disabilities so that they can contribute their talents by bringing awareness to how children should be treated in and out of the classroom. If you would like more to learn about this book, then go to Amazon.com and check out Bubble Bear Special Problem by Marie Mason.